Shelly Lederman. Come on. I almost said Fetterman. Come on, handsome. My dream day right here, baby.
You know, first of all, I'd like to apologize for moving so slowly to get up here. We see, folks, the reality is, I can't remember if I removed my fucking catheter before I left the house. So please, bear with me. You know, when I first got here, I accidentally followed this really good-looking broad right into the ladies' room downstairs. But it wasn't until I was sitting on that toilet seat in the ladies' room that it hit me. Sitting on that toilet seat in the ladies' room is the closest I've gotten to a pussy in a long, long time. Okay, moving on, a little bit more about me. My name is Shelly Lederman, and as you can plainly see, I'm just an old, balding Jew. But ladies, I'm hung like a racehorse. So if any of you ladies have a grandpa fetish, I am here for you. You know, I just recently celebrated my 71st birthday. I gotta tell you, getting old is a bitch, and it happens before you know it. I mean, to me, it still seems just like yesterday. I was having this menage a trois with these two 25-year-old broads, and bam, all of a sudden I'm 71 years old, and now I gotta take Viagra 3 times a day. Once in the morning, because I don't want to pee on my shoes. I take one in the afternoon because I'm just tired of disappointing my hand. And I do another one at night before I go to sleep, because that keeps me from rolling out of bed. You know, I just recently found out that a lot of women my age, they're having a really tough time making ends meet. And the reason I know this is because the other day I spotted this hooker with a walker. Don't laugh, there was a line, and she was wearing a t-shirt that said, "Who's your grandma?" You know, speaking about hookers, do you know that when I was a kid, a blowjob only cost a nickel? You know, looking back, I probably should have charged at least a quarter. You know, when I was a kid, I used to trip on acid. Today, I got acid reflux. When I was a kid, I'd sometimes lock that bathroom door and play with it. In those days, that was a selfie. When I was a kid, I was so horny. When I watched a porno, man, I couldn't even make it past the FBI warning. When I was a kid, my mother would give me $1. I'd go to the corner grocery store and I'd come home with 2 dozen eggs, 2 loaves of bread, 2 quarts of milk, and 5 pounds of potatoes. There's no way I can do that today. Too many fucking security cameras. You know, today at my age, my idea of safe sex is having a condom and a defibrillator. You know, today when I eat M&Ms, that's Maalox and Metamucil. You know, I thought I found this really, really cool video game in my house the other day. Turned out to be the freaking microwave. You know, lately I've had a lot of strange things happening to me. I mean, I went to an antique auction the other day, and 2 people bid on me. I was taking a walk in the woods behind my house, and I tripped over this body. Scared the shit out of me, because it wasn't where I left it. You know, lately I've had a lot of trouble sleeping. I've been taking this medication, which has caused me to have some very, very strange dreams. And just the other night, I had this dream that I was having an intelligent conversation with a vagina. In that dream, I was a cunnilinguist. I had another dream that night that I was reincarnated as a black rap singer with 2 penises. In that dream, I was Tupac Shakur. You know, I got divorced about 12 years ago, and I decided it's about time I started dating. So I joined Match.com, and they hooked me up with a woman that was 12 years older than me. Yeah, they hooked me up with a freaking cougar. Matter of fact, first time we attempted to have sex, I thought this woman had the tightest pussy of any woman I'd ever been with in my entire life. But as it turned out, she just forgot to take off her pantyhose. But she was a nice lady. But she was a nice lady, very generous. She had this huge heart, which turned out to be congenital. Then one day, for some reason, she started wearing these really low-cut blouses, which was totally, totally inappropriate, because her tits came all the way down to her belly button. So I said, sweetheart, you know, you really need to start acting your age. So she died. You know, today, as I'm slowly approaching death, a couple of things are starting to really piss me off. Take my doctors, for instance. They're starting to treat me with absolutely no respect. I'm starting to feel like Rodney Dangerfield. Went to see my proctologist last week. He stuck his finger in my mouth. Then I went to see my regular doctor. He walked into the examination room and goes, Mr. Lederman, I'm afraid you're going to have to stop masturbating. I said, Doc, why is that? He goes, because I need to examine you. Then he has the balls to ask me for a urine specimen and a stool sample. I just said, fuck it, and gave him my underwear. You know, before I go, there's something I'd like you all to think about. Why is it okay for a woman to walk into a store, walk out with a 12-inch vibrating penis, pleasure herself 3, 4, 5 times a night, and we call her naughty? But when I walk into a store and I walk out with a 240-volt, self-inflating latex blow-up doll, with a 6-speed pulsating vagina, a drip-free body fluid collection pan, a self-lubricating anus, a 6-speaker surround sound moaning groan Dolby Audio stereo system, and I take that bitch on vacation with me twice a year. And people call me a pervert. That really pisses me off, but you guys have been great. Thank you.
Hilarious! What?